If you love sewing but you feel like things don't turn out quite right, or even that your sewing machine isn't working like it used to, stay with me because this video is going to help you a lot. Today we're going to talk about habits that help you sew better, avoid silly mistakes, avoid accidents, and take care of your sewing machine so it lasts you for a long time, even if you sew a lot. And if you're new around here, consider subscribing, liking, hyping, and sharing everything so it can get to more people, and that way you don't miss anything either. And the first tip I have for you is to choose the needle depending on the fabric you're going to sew. It's not only important for the fabric because there are different widths. So if it's a thin fabric, you need a thin needle. There's needles for leather, for denim, for anything. So it's not only important for the fabric because if not, you're going to damage it, but it's important for the machine as well. Because if the fabric is too thick and you are using a thin needle, you're forcing it, so you're basically breaking it little by little. And the same way you're going to choose not only the right needle but good quality needles, you're going to choose good quality threads as well. It's really important because of lint. All this lint that accumulates inside the machine ends up breaking it if you don't clean it properly. And one thing bad quality thread does is leave loads of residue. You can feel it when you touch it, that it's leaving loads of lint behind, and that gets in the sewing machine, and it's really bad for you, well, for it and for you. And the next step is threading your machine properly so it sews nicely. Your machine has numbers and arrows that make you follow the path, so it's properly threaded, which is fairly easy, and also you have your instruction book as well. And the best tip is to thread it with the presser foot up. So the tension is loose, so you don't have the wrong tension, and the thread can go inside all the little nooks it has to go in, so it's properly threaded. And one very basic tip we all know is that you need to test your fabric. Once you have cut your project and you have all these little scraps that are basically useless, try your machine with them. Try the needle, try the thread, so you make sure that everything is working smooth before you sew your project. That way you won't have any problems. And of course, make sure of the stitch you're using before you start sewing. It's happened to all of us that you're going to start sewing and all of a sudden you see a zigzag stitch going around and you have to start again. And that little heart attack has happened a lot. And as well, it's happened to me to not even use a twin needle because I broke it. Because of the same thing, I had the zigzag stitch on and I had my twin needle, and of course I broke it before starting. So all of these little accidents can be avoided if you just have a look at the stitch you have selected. And one thing we all do, and it's really wrong, is to pull your fabric. The machine doesn't need that. The machine fits the fabric itself. It does it on its own. So we don't need to pull the fabric. When we do that, we might be stretching the fabric, we might be forcing the thread, and the seam is not going to look as nice. So we need to be patient and just fit the machine the fabric it needs. I do that as well. When you have a long seam ahead, you just try to do it as fast as you can, but it's better to leave the machine alone and let her do her work on its own. And one thing we have to get used to for our own safety is to get the foot off the pedal. The sewing machine, it's a strong and sturdy machine, and it can really hurt you. Last year I I saw my finger and it really hurts. It's terrible. So just to make sure when you're handling, when you're doing things, when you're threading it, maybe you don't want to turn it off because the light helps. So get your foot off the pedal just to avoid accidents. And one thing we have to get used to is to change our needle on a regular basis. From time to time, depending on what you saw, you are going to see how your needle is worn. You don't realize it because it's working, it's sewing, but you realize it once you've changed it and you see how well the new one sews. So just change it from time to time, because you're not only taking care of the machine, but you're taking care of the fabric you're sewing with. And of course, we're at that point, and the tip is cleaning your sewing machine. It gets to a point on where it doesn't work properly. You don't notice it, but it starts crackling, it starts making noises, and you realize once you've cleaned it and you see how smooth it sews. So just make sure that you don't get that lint to accumulate that much, because what's going to do is to not to break it, but to make it work in a bad way. And it's not something you can say, it hasn't got a date. Like, I cannot tell you, you have to clean your sewing machine once a week, once a month, once a year. It depends on how often you sew and how much you use it. But try to measure yourself on how often you need to clean it. And once you finish, of course, try to keep your sewing machine covered. I made this cover years ago in plastic because I like seeing the sewing machine. But there are a million covers you can sew with patchwork, different shapes. They look really nice, and the important thing is that you protect your sewing machine from more dust that can get into the engine. When it comes to any hobby, all the tips are useful, and even remembering some we already know, it's also good as well. So let me know down in the comments what you thought, any other tips you have, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And I'll see you around. Bye! Gracias, Lucky. Por Dios, no se calla el loro. Ya te oí. Hay obras por ahí. Y una cosa que tenemos que hacer